Maher, he's not very happy with how things are going, with how these libs are changing things and how woke they are. So he went on Ben Shapiro's show to complain about it.
But when you say woke, it's become, and I make fun of it too, because it's become an eye roll in many ways. If woke, I assume at a certain moment, and it wasn't that long ago before we didn't have the term. I only heard it, I don't know what it was, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago at most, when we heard the term woke, and it was like alert to injustice. I'm like, okay, I'm down with that. I always have been. I hope people still understand that about me. But yes, it became sort of a byword for a lot of this goofy stuff. That's what I'm always railing against. That's why, like, they play me on Fox News now.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? Because you went from the guy who was.
I feel. Look, I haven't changed at all. My politics hasn't changed. They've changed. People say to me sometimes, have you changed? No, it's that 5 years ago, no one was talking about defunding the police. I never heard that phrase 5 years ago. That's not me changing, that's things changing. I'm reacting to it, as I've always been. Letting 3-year-olds decide what gender they are. This wasn't something 5 years ago. Free speech, used to be a left-wing thing that we were proud and owned, and now that seems to be under attack.
Seems to be under attack. Free speech just seems to be under attack. So Bill Maher reels off several things that he says he hasn't changed. And by the way, I'm not sure if he realizes this. The fact that you're stuck in the past does not mean that's a good thing. So as progress happens, and as people recognize other people's existences, and as other people realize that rights have been withheld from folks throughout the years, I've just been the same. I mean, back before women had rights and had voting rights or could leave the house, I was like, why are they letting women leave the house? What's wrong with them? Oh, there's civil rights here. If I was around in there, I'd be like, how come they're changing things? It's not like black people deserve rights. So this whole argument that you haven't changed, as people have begun to recognize that we've limited rights of many people in our society, it's not a pride thing to say, hey, I haven't changed, they've changed. Well, maybe they have, and maybe you should have. Now, by the way, you don't have to, but I don't think that's much of a thing for you to exalt like you're this great person. Fine, you can celebrate that for yourself, but I don't think that's supposed to be the standard for us progressing in this country. That's just the way it's always been for people who don't want to leave the way that things have always been that have benefited certain people like yourself. No, these kids and they're 3 years old and they're saying that they're what gender they are. There's many people throughout our society that have been told they're not who they are, and then they're depressed, they get kicked out of homes, they kill themselves, or someone else kills them. Those types of things happen. So if you don't want to just have anyone talk about who they are, fine, don't talk to anyone about it. But if you don't want them to be able to then live their lives, now you're stepping on other people's rights. Speaking of the libs, used to be on the First Amendment. Adrian, before I get to more things that he said, I've already filibustered this particular story. I'm curious of what you think.
Well, the guy that Bill Maher was talking to, was he particularly neutral, or is he kind of a right-wing guy? What guy is that again?
It's Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, okay. So Bill Maher, it's clear that he is saying what he needs to say to stay on whatever side will get him his cash flow. Because yeah, there was a time where he was seemingly on the left, but if you scratch beneath the surface, you'd see a fair amount of, a little bit of racism there, a little bit of homophobia, a little bit of, Islamophobia. And it's like, we really are just seeing who Bill Maher is, and he has his chest out and he is saying it with his chest, which I do appreciate, but let's not pretend that it's us that's changed. No, you've always been the same. And the thing is, that's why many of us cannot stand you. And this whole thought that individuals, that there's something wrong with the fact that our society is evolving toward recognizing marginalized voices, if you find that offensive and that bothers you, then you are exactly where you should be, which is right next to Ben Shapiro.
And that's where they always find themselves. And then when they ask, oh, you're on Fox, how do you feel about that? He's about to say, I feel great. And he kind of stopped. He goes, this is the thing, I haven't changed. Well, yeah, sure, it's fine. But I don't think anything he said, he's not lying. No, he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed, and that's fine. Don't change, but don't act like that's a good thing.
Exactly.
You can always sit back in the past all you want, but yeah, you're on the wrong side of it.